I got nothing, guys. You know, look, normally I open these up with some sort of, like, joke or reference to the devil fruit I'm gonna talk about, or the user, but it's fucking Ivankov, guys. There is nothing in my infinite bag of cringe that I could pull out that could do this guy justice. It's fucking Ivankov, okay? It's not gonna happen. The only thing I could think of to tell you is that a little trivia note about me, Tekking, is that my favorite song of all time is Science Fiction Double Feature by Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, which is heavily featured in Rocky Horror Picture Show, which Ivankov is based off of the character Frankenfurter. In fact, to even go down further in this rabbit hole, I think, like, the Japanese version of Rocky Horror Picture Show, the guy that played Frankenfurter in that adaptation ended up voicing Ivankov in the One Piece anime. So it's weird, like, Ivankov is, like, in and of himself the inspiration and also himself in terms of the character. It's a weird little, you know, piece of trivia, but that's all I got, you know, alright? So, yeah, hormone fruit. Alright, now, I'm not a biologist, alright? I don't know shit about anatomy all that much, you know, I'm not that kind of guy. I majored in, like, communications and history. That's my domain, alright? So I'll try to make this work as much as possible, though. It's a very interesting devil fruit, although I will say that we just haven't seen the full scope of what it could really do. Ivankov himself even comes out and says all the things that it could do, and we only get to see him do, like, two main things with it. So the deal with this is that it modifies the body a little bit of the user. It allows the user to turn their fingertips into syringes, and then whenever that person impales another human being with said syringes, they can modify different aspects about that person's body. It's stated that it's just through the use of hormones that's how you know, Ivankov can completely rework the human body. This is the point where I would bring up, like, hormones don't really work like that, but okay, I'll go with the fantasy. It's anime, it's One Piece. You know, another way that Ivankov puts it that's a little bit better is that he is an engineer of the human body. You know, once he stabs somebody with his hormones, he can modify that body to insane degrees. Now, he can't do stuff beyond just like he can't, like, stab somebody and modify their body to the point where, like, they're invincible or they're invulnerable or they can fly or anything beyond normal, like the growth of a human being. But beyond that, like, in terms of things like sex, pigmentation of the skin or hair, height, you know, growth, you know, like the amount of time they'll grow, their healing faculties, you know, increasing their immunities to certain poisons, increasing the size of certain body parts, you know, like Ivankov can make his face grow huge, you know, okay, even that's kind of going a little bit, you know, that's getting a little bit wonky there that he could do that. There doesn't seem to be a limit to this. There doesn't seem to be, like, a time limit, I guess I should say. It seems like, you know, whoever that he messes with will be, like, permanently changed until they get modified again by Ivankov. Now, the primary way that we see Ivankov use this ability in the story is changing gender. That's the thing that he uses most often, and that's the first time we get to see his ability. This was spoken as, like, a miraculous, like, this is Ivankov the miracle worker, as Bonchan always used to call him as. So, he shows up and he's in New Kamaland and he's doing the, you know, the fucking musical number and shit, and then all of a sudden a guy named Barrett walks in and he is, like, pissed off at Ivankov. You know, he has a history with him. Barrett is I guess a prisoner in Impel Down that found out that Ivankov was there, and he's this big huge muscular guy with a beard and shit, and he bursts into the fucking New Kamaland and he's like, Emporio Ivankov, robber, something about his dad, you know, becoming an Hakama or something, you know, and so he's pissed. So he launches a cannonball at Ivankov. Ivankov nullifies it using his death wink. That's a power that's completely irrelevant to his... Ivankov can kill you with a wink. That's not something to do with the devil fruit. That's just fucking Ivankov. And so then he proceeds to stab Barrett using his syringes and then changes his sex from male to female. And in the fashion of doing this, you know, I would bring up, you know, that's not how fucking hormones work. You can't just, like, take like a syringe of estrogen, you know, the female hormone, and inject it into yourself like you're a guy, and then you just magically, you know, your dick just disappears and you grow tits. This is a weird fucking discussion video I'm doing today. Damn! Yeah, that's not how it works. But going beyond that fact, Barrett also, like, you know, he loses his beard and he also grows, like, you know, 3 times shorter because, you know, he's a woman now, so he trades in all the muscle for curves and boobs, and that's that. You know, it's like, what? That honestly speaking, that is one of the biggest what the fuck moments in One Piece. But okay, yes, that's the main way that Ivankov uses his ability. He can also use it on himself to change his gender from male to female. It's weird, in the manga, I think he can just do it at will, which always made sense to me, because I figured if he's the one that actually ate the fruit and he has the ability to alter hormones and everything, why would he need to stab himself with the syringes? But in the anime, he does have to do it that way. He does have to stab himself to switch his gender around. You know, the advantage to this, you know, there are some tactical, like, battle, you know, advantages to this thing. Whenever Ivankov is a male, he seems to be, you know, he has more muscles. When he's a woman, he has a longer reach because he's got longer legs, you know, as well as some, you know, flotation devices and in case he ever falls in the water, you know, he's a devil fruit user, he can't swim, but if he's a woman, he'll be able to float to safety. So that's another bonus about his devil fruit. He also uses this to get information out of a guard in the anime as well. He just goes up to somebody, he's like trying to get information where Ace is being held. So he's like, what am I going to do to get you to tell me? Oh, I know, I'll just sex change, bitch. And then like, oh my, okay, yes, he's down that way, yes. I'm like, okay, this is just how that works. All right, you think he would actually be able to do a lot of other more fucked up torturing kind of shit with his devil fruit, like, hey, I'm just gonna fuck with, like, your hypothalamus and your body temperature and give you a ridiculously high fever, and if you don't tell me where Ace is, you'll just die a horrible way possible. Or I could lower your body temperature and you could, you know, die of hypothermia. It's all in the fucking needles, man. That's the crazy thing. He mentions all this other stuff he can do. Like, I could change your growth, I could fuck with your temperature, I could screw with all this kind of stuff, but he mostly just sticks to either changing gender and then relying on other abilities he has. You know, Ivankov is a master of Nukama Kempo, which is like a martial arts style. It also involves, I guess that's related to the style of him using his winks as deadly attacks, and shit of that nature. But beyond that, he doesn't actually use his devil fruit itself in combat. He does use it, like, he can extend the size of the syringes themselves. He can make them, you know, really short, or like super, like swords or whatever. They're not extremely durable, but he uses them against Akainu and dices him up a little bit, and they just all melt because, you know, he's using a syringe on fucking magma, so they're not meant to be used that way, but he could if he wanted to. You know, he could stab a motherfucker with his fingernail. Another way that he uses it, and this is the other main way that he uses his devil fruit, is through face growth synthesis, where he stabs himself in the face, and not just his face, his entire fucking head swells up to ridiculous bauble proportions. His lower half is still not affected by this at all. He could still run, he could still all do that shit. The reason that he does this is because if his death wink is strong enough with his eye at normal size, Ivankov's already had, like, his body's already been kind of, like, disproportional in terms of, like, you know, how big his head is and how big his body is in general, but making his head huge like that allows him to shoot out a much larger and much more devastating version of the death wink, the hell wink. And then he can go even one step beyond that, and he can, like, add some speed to it and some spins and create the galaxy wink with, like, multiple heads at the same time. I guess his brain gets bigger too. I mean, if you're making your entire head huge, you know, by logic, your brain would get huge as well, and then he could just, you know, stab himself and then just shrink it back down. That's one of the weirder methods of his devil fruit. Like, everything else I could kind of, like, sort of understand. You know, like I said, you can't just inject hormones into yourself and just expect an immediate change. But it's okay, it's anime, it's manga, alright, fine. He could just inject estrogen into a dude, turn them into a chick. That's just how it works. And by the way, he could do the same thing, he could vice versa. He did it with a bunch of people in New Kamaland, like transferring the genders back and forth. But we just haven't seen him do I guess it would be like testosterone, you know, injection or whatever, but we haven't seen him do that. But it's at least related to stuff like gender and skin color and everything like that. So I can understand that logic with it, but making your head, you know, the size of a small cottage Actually, he offers vacation deals. I shit you not. This is actually something that if you want to have, a nice, home away from home, go and contact Oda, and he'll hit you up with Ivankov. He has like a travel service where you could stay in Ivankov's afro. And if he goes into his face growth synthesis, that allows him to accommodate like up to 100 people. If you get an ocean view, if he's traveling next to the ocean, you get an ocean view side with a balcony, a nice villa. That's going to cost extra. And the penthouse suite is in the crown room. I'm shitting you not. This is actually canon. Oda himself confirmed this, and you think, oh, he's just joking, Tekking. People can't live in his afro. Inazuma already did it, and there was like 200-something people that escaped from Impel Down, and all of them were clinging to Ivankov's giant head. I mean, yeah, they were kind of like stringing along, but there was quite a few of them that were able to hang out in his afro. His afro is transcending dimensions, alright? Brooke, you gotta run for your money. Alright, now here comes the part where I say all the fun and cool shit that you could do with this power. So first off, disguises. Alright, this is right up there with Bon Clay's Mane Mane no Mi as being a devil fruit that is amazing when it comes to disguises. Now, you might be thinking, the Mane Mane no Mi, that's a little bit more better at disguises, because literally it allows you to copy another person altogether, period. All Bon has to do is just touch somebody and then touch his own face, and then he can turn in the exact replica of that person. From head to toe, their voice, everything. He can't replicate memories or anything like that, or devil fruit abilities, but he can copy the person entirely, and he'll never forget a face. He can turn them into whatever. Now, that might be an advantage, but that also might be a disadvantage, because he has to copy somebody that already exists, right? So you could still get recognized if you're not careful, like let's say you show up into town, and you want to do reconnaissance, and you have the Mane Mane no Mi, and you want to turn into somebody. You got to be careful that person's not going to be recognized in town. You got to be careful, like, oh shit, that's Jim. Didn't he die last week in that fucking crane dolphin accident? That's not what happened. You still alive? I'm like, oh right. I'm not Jim. I'm Harry. You have to be careful on how this works exactly. The Horu no Mi might actually have a better advantage here, because whenever you get it's like playing a fucking RPG, and you get to choose your characters skin color and general height and weight and sex at the beginning of the game. You could choose whatever you want. All right, and that's a power that we haven't really seen him do, but it's true that he could do that. Ivankov confirmed that. So, if I wanted to fucking invade a town and want to make sure that nobody recognizes me, I'll be like, all right, I'm a pretty small, 5'6", pasty white kid, brown hair. Okay, Ivankov, stab me with your syringes, make me into a 6'1", tan, blonde hair, California surfer dude. And he could do that, and it'd be like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna go infiltrate this town now. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You want to go even further? You can change your gender, and there you go. I believe he can also change hair color. I don't see why he wouldn't. That's melanin, right? I believe melanin has to deal with your skin, but I think there's different types of melanin. Like I said, not a fucking biologist, but I think there's 2 different types of melanin that control the shade and the lightness or the darkness of your hair. And that can be altered. That's a chemical that can be changed. I guess any chemical in the human body can be altered with his, Horror no Mi, which just brings to question, why doesn't he, take advantage of this crazy skill that he's got? Another way that he uses it is in order to bolster the immune system. Now, like I said, he can't actually do something ridiculous. He can't just stab you and give you a cure-all. Luffy's infected with all these different poisons. Ivankov's not stabbing Luffy and just okay, here's the cure. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, you're good, you're done. And then Luffy just hops off the operating table yeah, super. Oh, wait, no, that's Frankie's thing. Meat! That's not how it works. All that Ivankov can do is bolster Luffy's own natural immune system onto the level that can deal with the 12 different kinds of poisons that are circulating in his body. Luffy was going to have a 0% survival rate if it wasn't for Ivankov. His body simply wouldn't be able to handle all those different kinds of poison at the same time. All that Ivankov did is increase it to a level which allows him a 1 or 2 or 3% survival rate just left on his own. But, Luffy has a very strong willpower, and he never gives up and all that shit. He's very strong-willed, so that's how he was able to come out of it. Not just come out of it, but come out of it way quicker than Ivankov planned on it. His life force force was just that strong. So yeah, that was the case with Luffy, although it did take some serious years off of his life. That's other things about Ivankov's abilities, is that it depends on what he's doing to you. Like, there doesn't seem to be that much of a negative aspect whenever he's changing gender or making his head grow huge. But whenever he's, like, fucking with your immune system, that's going to take some years off your life. And whenever he has another skill I didn't mention, his adrenaline shot. So he has Emporio, Emporio energy hormones, where it's adrenaline. He just pumps a shit ton of adrenaline into your body. Once again, not how adrenaline works, okay, kids? Please, do not go out there, take adrenaline, and just stab it in your heart, okay? This isn't like magical wonder drug in anime where it's like, I'm on the brink of death, I can't move, I gotta save Ace, hold on, let me just take this fucking huge... Okay, I'm good now! No, you will die! Watch Million Dollar Baby! You will die! Pulp Fiction kind of on the, the teeter there. Don't inject yourself with large quantities of adrenaline, okay? It's not how that works. But okay, yeah, so he could do it, though, and if he does that, I would assume, maybe, like, a side effect of the fruit, kind of the same thing with, Bon Clay's Mono Mono no Mi, or Mane Mane no Mi, is that when he does, inject stuff into you, like chemicals, he maybe can gauge it to the level of where it would be dangerous, like, he can inject adrenaline into Luffy, and, it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you enough adrenaline to get you up and moving, but not enough to, like, make your heart fucking explode, so yeah, that's probably maybe a side effect of the fruit, and a side effect of the actual energy hormone is after a day, your body is just wrecked and you can't move at all. Your body's just like, from all the after effects of the adrenaline. Although we don't really get to see this in the series because right after Marineford, after Luffy goes through Impel Down and Marineford, there's like a little bit of a time skip. There's like Luffy's rendered unconscious anyway, but there's like a 2-week time skip from whenever Luffy's healing and he's on Amazon Lily, and it's the same thing with Bone. We don't really know what happened with him there. So yeah, we would assume that the effect is like you're just limp, you can't move, but we don't get to see it actually in the context of it. So yeah, that's that. I don't think there's any other ability that he can use in the story that we've seen yet. Something else, and this is just... Hey, look, there's a lot... Because Ivankov exists, there's a lot of fan theories regarding around... Okay... It's a gender free-for-all, guys. This person could have used... This person maybe was a woman at one point. This person might have been a man. It's a fucking free-for-all. Anybody that's ever come into even maybe contact with Ivankov. Ooh, come into contact with Ivankov. This is getting spicy. But no, seriously, it could have been anything. So that's what a lot of people think is the secret that Crocodile's trying to hide. Whenever they free Crocodile from Impel Down level 6, Luffy's worried about, are we going to be able to handle this guy? And Ivankov says, oh, don't worry, Straw Boy. I know Sandy Pants here quite well, and I know his secrets, and we won't worry about him. Don't worry, I'll keep him in line. And Crocodile's just like, you fucker, you mentioned that, I swear to God. Ivankov's like, okay, don't worry about it. So a lot of people think that was the case, that he, fucked with the Crocodile's, gender at one point, whether it be intentional because Crocodile wanted it, he was born a woman and he wanted to be a man, or Ivankov just did it to him just to fuck with him. Another theory is that he fucked with Crocodile's age. Maybe Crocodile's a lot younger or a lot older than he lets on. See, the age thing, that's kind of up in the air whether he could really mess with that. I think he did say he can maybe mess with your growth. I don't know if that means he can really mess with your age, because the thing with devil fruits is there are some devil fruits that do very similar things, but not the exact same thing. Like, for example, Baby 5's Buki Buki no Mi allows her to summon swords, or to turn her body into swords. And Mr. 1's Suba Suba no Mi also allows him to turn into swords. But they're still different devil fruits. So you have Jewelry Bonnie's devil fruit that is very clearly, the ability to manipulate people's ages. She can just straight up whenever she wants. She can turn someone into a little kid or an old elderly person. She can do whatever she wants with that. So I'm not saying it might be Ivankov might have that power, but it's not going to be as effortless as with, Jewelry Bonnie's, where Jewelry Bonnie could just maybe, just turn them whenever she looks at them or comes in physical contact. Maybe Ivankov could modify somebody's age through their hormones, but maybe there might be a massive, drawback to that or something. Something like, all right, we don't really want to fuck with this, but if you want me to, I can. Hee-haw. That's that there. And on top of that, that also brings into question, people question, a dragon's gender now. People are throwing, a bunch of crazy shit in the freaking mix now that Ivankov's in the picture. Hey, look, I'm just saying, with Ivankov's power, it would be possible for Ivankov to turn a guy into a girl and then get pregnant and have a baby, because this is not like an operations that exists today for transgendered people. This is literally reworking your entire body from the inside out, and the characters do mention that their equipment does indeed it's a full conversion, okay? They Porygon the shit out of this. It is a full conversion whenever, he uses it. So, man, woman, pregnant, kid, and then back to man again. I mean, it's possible. He could have done that with somebody. So yeah, the whole thing is up in the air. It really is. It also led to a bunch of SBS questions because of Ivankov's abilities to hey Oda, draw all the supernovas gender swapped. Hey Oda, draw all the Straw Hats gender swapped. They even made a fucking figurine out of gender swapped Luffy. So. Damn, Luffy's thick. Okay, whatever. I'm getting off the rails at this point. I think I've covered everything involving this. Let's try to keep the comment section fairly decent. Come on, guys. You're my fans. I believe in you. I didn't really go there the entire video, so let's not go there in the comment section. We're talking about a guy with a giant afro with the ability to make his head grow to the size of a small, condo space. All right, let's just talk about the Devil Fruit. Let's talk about maybe the characters, maybe what's up with Crocodile, or what's up with other characters, or the other legion of things that Ivankov could probably, screw around with the human body, and change them into using his Devil Fruit. Yeah, and I'll be doing a discussion video on Ivankov as well once we get through I still have to do Sanji's video, then we're going to go through the supernovas, and then after that it'll just be a free-for-all discussion about multiple One Piece characters that I just find interesting. Ivankov will definitely be in that list, so we'll do a whole proper discussion video about him then, but hope you guys enjoyed the video. This will be Tekking101 signing out, everybody. Okay, I'll do it. I gotta do it at least once. Alright, hold on. Throat's a little bit hoarse here. Hee-haw! Gotta do the thrust. You gotta do the thrust when you do the hee-haw. I mean, you have to. Okay. You guys have a good night, everybody. Signing out.